Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to Financial Fitness. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. In this video, I'm going to talk about whether the Arcteryx Cerium LT Hoodie down jacket is worth the money and briefly about how down fill power works. And we're starting right now. I'll be looking at if the Cerium LT Hoodie is worth it for the price, how much I paid, overall functionality, what features and value does the jacket have compared to the Cerium SV Hoodie that I reviewed in a previous video. Before I go into the review, I'm going to briefly explain the 3 factors that apply to how downfill works to keep you warm and how those factors can help you identify a good quality down parka or jacket to help distinguish Arcteryx from other brands. I talked about how downfill works in greater detail in my Canada Goose and Arcteryx Cerium SV hoodie video, so please check that out. Down insulation traps body heat between the clusters of down within the coat to keep you warm. The less that is trapped, the colder you will feel. Ideally, you want the clusters of down to be bigger to retain more body heat, which translates to goose down. Duck down usually has smaller clusters and will retain less body heat. Beyond goose and duck down comes fill power. Fill power is the number that you see ranging from 500 to 1,000 when you first look at a down winter coat label as the first or second feature. It indicates the size of space 1 ounce of down is able to insulate when it reaches maximum loft. Fill power is a direct indication of the size of down clusters in a jacket, which is why goose down generates higher fill powers than duck down. The fill power combined with the weight of the amount of down fill is what keeps you warm. Many companies do not actually list on the tag the weight of the down in a particular jacket. The last factor to consider is down to feather ratio. You'll probably only see this on the inside tag of the coat rather than the label itself, but most commonly you'll see 80-20, which is acceptable. Ignore anything lower like 70-30. Ideally, you want to look for 90-10 as the gold standard. If I had to rank the 3 down factors in order of importance, I'd probably say down weight is the most important, then down fill, then down to feather ratio. Arcteryx typically uses fairly high fill power with either 700 or higher, but the Cerium LT and SV that I have both use 850 downfill. The latest version of the Cerium SV for 2022 now uses 1,000 downfill power, which I've never seen before until I compared these 2 jackets for this video. I was looking for something that was intentionally designed and high quality. Since I already had the Cerium SV, I wanted something a bit lighter for a chilly day and something that can be worn in between fall and early winter as either a mid-layer or outer layer. I like the functionality of Arcteryx gear, and since their gear is purely designed for the outdoors, it was a no-brainer for how functional they really are. When they're designing things meant for durability and functionality, like for all types of hiking, climbing, skiing, and even ice climbing, their gear is optimized for limiting weight, meaning durable and higher quality materials that are light like 850 downfill and non-bulky reliable zippers to match their high pricing. Light and durable zippers like this one, which might be a little hard to see in the video. It's hard to question the Arcteryx quality level after trying on and using their gear when comparing it to other brands. On top of this, their trade-in program offers 20% back based on the original price of the item to use on your next Arcteryx purchase, and their transparency for what each jacket or shell is specifically designed for is great for the customer. They have different collections based on the activity or type of climbing you're doing, along with product families and product modifiers to help you get the right jacket for what you need. It's a long list, so you might even feel compelled to go to a store to talk to an employee. So the Arcteryx Cerium LT hoodie is basically a Cerium SV hoodie, but with less downfill. There are very few differences between the two, besides the weight of the downfill, and more recently, the actual downfill power increasing from 850 to 1,000 in the SV. Even though the Cerium LT is technically a packable mid-layer jacket, it's very slim fitting and closer to the body, which helps you stay warmer than I've found when comparing it to other down jackets in general. By itself, I found the Cerium LT to be pretty warm as a solo outer layer with just a t-shirt as your base layer, down to about the low to mid 30-degree level, even though it's not quite as puffy as the SV with the limited amount of downfill. It's super light to the point where you wouldn't notice you had it on at all if it wasn't the slightest bit puffy to remind you of it. Kind of like I have it on right now. The weight of the entire jacket is quite a bit less than 1 pound at 11.8 ounces and contains about 100 grams of down based on a size medium. The new Cerium SV with the 1000 downfill actually weighs less than the LT at 10.7 ounces. The Cerium SV contains 162 grams of down, just to compare against the Cerium LT. Most companies don't post the weight of the down on their website, which makes comparing down winter jackets difficult to compare on the same level when they all have drastically different down fill power, down weight, and down to feather ratios. Speaking of the price, the Cerium LT hoodie was $379 at full retail price, but has now been rebranded as the Cerium hoodie, which is not that much less than the Cerium SV, listed at $450. The Cerium hoodie is listed at $400. You can find deals on typically both the LT and SV, but generally the LT gets marked down more frequently during the holidays. They also tend to be at the Arcteryx outlet in strange colors for closer to $265, so it's something to keep in mind. As far as pricing, I actually ended up buying the last LT version at the outlet just before Black Friday, including taxes, for $284. I bought the Cerium SV hoodie for $494 a few years ago, which has since come down in price and has a higher down fill. The Beta SV shell I got for $429. If you have the budget and are only looking to have a select few coats in your closet, the Arcteryx quality, durability, ease of machine washing will beat out many other brands if you want the most functional jacket for your money. One of my favorite features is how well the StormHood actually covers your neck and face, so you don't have to wear a scarf or anything around your neck. Many other down jackets don't do this quite as functionally as Arcteryx, but I wanted to point out that the Cerium is also water and wind resistant only and not water and wind proof. To get the added benefit of windproof and waterproof, you need a Gore-Tex shell like my Beta SV that I just mentioned. I talk about the Beta SV in my earlier video on the Cerium SV, so please check that out if you're interested. The Cerium LT and SV are actually mid layers that can also be worn as an outer layer, but a shell can be worn over it in wet or windy conditions to keep all that warmth inside the shell and the water and wind out. For reference, when I talk about how warm the jacket is, I'm only wearing a base layer or shirt under the Cerium LT. To top off the benefit of this jacket, you can machine wash it without any dry cleaning. The only downside of wearing any of the shell jackets like the Beta SV over a mid layer like the Cerium LT or SV is that the shell does not have insulated pockets, so your hands tend to get a little cold, especially if you don't wear gloves for about 5 minutes or so when it's less than 30 degrees outside. The reason the shell does not have fleece lining or anything is because it's designed for hiking and climbing to easily remove or put things into the pockets, which fleece lining would prevent, and also the shell itself has no insulation since it's meant to be layered on top of a mid layer. Here are some points to summarize my thoughts on the Arcteryx Cerium LT and SV and their features. The Cerium LT packs smaller since it has less down weight and might be a more versatile jacket and can be worn across a wider range of temperatures and activities compared to the Cerium SV, which would not compress quite as small, and you may sweat inside the SV if it's not cold enough outside or if you're being really active. While the two jackets are extremely similar in terms of features, they're designed for different activities. The pockets are cut a bit differently for the LT versus the SV. The outside hand pockets are diagonal on the LT and straight for the SV, making them easier to keep things in the pockets while being active most likely. The main zipper on the Cerium LT is much smaller than on the SV, which can make pulling the zipper the slightest bit harder, but it's not a big deal even when worn daily. The StormHood does not come up as high on the LT compared to the SV. Arcteryx is function over fashion compared to most brands. Arcteryx is easier to maintain. Any mid-layer can be windproof and waterproof by wearing one of their shells over it. Arcteryx also has a pretty good trade-in program offering 20% back based on the original price of the item towards your next Arcteryx purchase. Although not all items qualify for the trade-in, insulated jackets are eligible and only specific types of Gore-Tex jackets are ineligible. If you only have space for one more jacket in your closet, the new pricing between the Cerium hoodie and the Cerium SV, I'd probably pick the SV to be safe unless you're expecting to be really active, then I'd go with the new LT. But to be honest with you, you can't go wrong with either one. If you're looking for the most exceptional down and have a big budget, you might want to check out Eiderdown, which is harvested primarily in Iceland and what I would consider limited edition down. Eider ducks use down to build their nests. Eider duck down is only harvested once a year when they have left their nest. The down is highly water resistant on its own without any treatment, and the down is brown instead of white like most down. Each nest, which must be individually found and harvested by hand only, contains about 15 grams of down, which is what makes it so expensive, and not all the nests are discovered during the harvesting period. I'm still hoping Arcteryx will sponsor me one day to do other jacket reviews, but until then, I'll put an affiliate link in the description below for the Arcteryx pieces I mentioned in this video, for the Cerium hoodie, the Cerium SV hoodie, and the Beta SV shell. Even since my last Arcteryx video, I'm still looking into another Arcteryx parka at some point, but one that is insulated with 850 or higher downfill that is both waterproof and windproof, so I don't have to wear gloves, a scarf, or multiple layers. I hope this video was helpful for you in your search for a down jacket or parka. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about anything I mentioned in this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and found it insightful. Click the like button if you did, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell so you can see when I post videos next. Feel free to leave comments, questions, and any topics you might want to hear about in future videos to get on track to being financially fit. See you in the next video.